Motherfucker won't let me.
Just do your phone.
I intended to go get my goddamn. Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, y'all. As you can probably tell, this is not going to be a normal show. Ask me why. It might have something to do with the fact that I live in Texas. And as it stands right now, ain't nothing happening in Texas. Val Wells, I see you. Thank you for checking in. So look at here, y'all. We are in the dark, except I'm in the car. We working mobile studio, y'all. So we gonna get this party started. It's gonna be an abbreviated show. So y'all get ready while we get it in. All right, all right. Okay, so look, y'all. Literally, we are in the dark. Like literally. Wait a minute. I can't never remember how to turn the doggone lights out. But I'm gonna just give you some idea of what's happening and show you from the like that's my neighborhood. And as you can probably see, it's good and dark. Ain't nothing going on around here. We are blacker than the blackest black. I got one neighbor over there with a car on. A lot of my neighbors are putting their cars on, so that we can kind of halfway navigate just a little bit through everything that's going on. So we've been able to charge phones and that type of thing. Jaquilla, look here. It ain't freezing. That's one good thing. It's cold.
It's 37.
We at 37 degrees, but the problem is that Texas has dropped the proverbial ball on where we are concerned with the with our infrastructure here. And as I'm finding out, we've been trying to dig a little bit and see what was really going on. And I got a really interesting correspondence from somebody. And I'm going to try as hard as I can to pull it up and read it. But it kind of makes sense. Now, everybody is pointing fingers in Texas right now. And that's part of the problem because nobody wants to take any responsibility for what's taking place. And it's quite a bit happening. One of the first things I heard actually from somebody that I know was that the turbines, y'all know them big old windmills that be up there when you're driving down the highway and you see them big old windmills out there and those things are blowing around. There are people who have said that those things froze up and that was part of the problem. But I happen to know for a fact that those same turbine windmills are also in the Arctic Circle. They have these things in other parts of the world where it's way, way colder, yet they froze in Texas. Well, from what I understand, there is a reason. There are people within Texas that are not taking care of the business. They are and haven't been doing what they needed to do in terms of winterizing for these type of things because we just simply do not get this kind of weather here. And so because we don't get this kind of weather, I think a lot of people have taken for granted that this type of thing could happen and that this was going to be necessary. While Ted Cruz is running around here worrying about what's going on with Donald Trump and the White House, he's managed to neglect his responsibilities along with the governor of this state with the things that they need to be worrying about to make sure that the people in this state are okay. Now, so far, there have been deaths. In fact, I've heard as recent as yesterday, as much as news as I've been able to keep up with, that there were about 140 carbon monoxide poisonings that have taken place so far. Um, and so that means that there are quite a few people who have actually become very ill uh, during all of this. And that's just for starters. We're not going to talk about all of the people who are losing, have lost um, so much during all of this. And it's just getting worse, obviously, by the day. Now, somebody put this out there. I posted it on my page. ERCOT is the organization here in Texas that handles this sort of or the energy around the state. Now, you got to remember, Texas is also the state that claimed they wanted to secede from the United States and become its own country. Well, fact of the matter is, right about now, Texas is looking like a third world country because in many third world countries, they don't have access to internet or it's intermittent. They have intermittent access to electricity and other things of that nature. So they are they are looking very much like that right now, and it has nothing more to do than with laziness and greed. Because the fact is, it's not like they don't have the money in this state. They do. They just didn't put it where it was supposed to go. Now, according to someone put this out there, a good friend of mine reposted it. It says the Texas plight simplified. ERCOT equals Electric Reliability Council of Texas. They operate and manage the deregulated private energy grid. After 2011 snowstorm during Super Bowl week at the new Cowboy Stadium, various agencies, including ERCOT, agreed that winterizing our power grid should be the top priority. The public forgot, and politicians, private companies, did nothing. In this latest storm, the temperature was so cold that not only did natural gas lines freeze, but delivery systems for coal and natural gas froze as well. Some wind turbines also froze, but wind accounts for about 10,000 megawatts of total production, and ERCOT has said 30,000 megawatts total were lost at the peak of the outage. In other words, the 10,000 megawatts that the turbines make wasn't enough to account for the loss of power that we've suffered right now. Now, y'all just remember, I'm coming to you live from the middle of all of this because I'm sitting in the dark in my car, and I've set up this makeshift studio so that I can still bring my show to you in a very trying time. Because right now, I have no lights in my house, and we are lucky enough that the water is now back on because we did not have water last night. Neither fossil fuels nor renewable energy is to blame. What's to blame is that the winterization of equipment was put off as an expense because it eats into profits. Remember, the power companies in Texas are all private and completely deregulated. So which company is going to eat into profits to protect against a 100-year storm unless required to do so? Again, you got to remember, this is not something that happens on a regular, not even remotely close to regularly. The funny thing about this is, today is Wednesday. By Friday, this will look like nothing ever happened. In fact, the ground is clear now. We don't even have snow on the ground anymore. There's supposed to be some ice, rain, or something coming through tonight, but by tomorrow afternoon, it'll be gone. That's how the weather here is. By the end of this week, it'll be like summer again around here. See, this is as much winter as we're going to get. This is the crazy part about it. Now, we're experiencing a more erratic climate because 99% of all scientists agree that climate change is real. I bet someone thought that the 2011 storm was a once-in-a-lifetime storm and that this wouldn't happen again. I guess folks should start listening to the professionals. Now, see, this is another prime example. You have the conservative Republicans in this state who don't believe fat meat greasy. They don't believe that the possibility of global warming is a thing because they think that their feeble-minded politics is more educated than 99% of the global scientists. People who spend their life studying these things don't know what they're talking about. See, but these are the people that unfortunately we elect. So we have to be very careful about who we allow to hold those offices because they are the ones who are going to make the difference in our lives. People have lost their lives in this debacle because they thought they were smarter than scientists. Let's just keep it 100. Now, the governor is he's mad and he's bothered. One, I'm sure that he cares a lot about people, that a lot of people might die. I don't like the guy, but I doubt he is heartless. B, This is a stain on his record. And C, I think he will run for presidency in 2024. Good luck with that. So he's on the news blaming ERCOT, wind turbines, and saying that he's going to hold people accountable. Basically the same nonsense politicians spew after knowing they messed up. What the governor isn't telling you is that every member managing ERCOT was appointed by him. That this problem was caused by lack of investment for the public good. That the Texas legislature has not mandated any regulations on that power companies since 2011 storm. And that all politicians know that 90% of you will forget by next week when the weather hits 60 degrees again. And it's going to do exactly that. And people are going to forget this and they're going to act like this didn't happen. So this is why we have to be, again, diligent and act like the voting process means something, because it does. And this is part of the problem. When we put the wrong people in office because we got stupid ass ideologies that don't count for anything except a big ass ego. And this is Texas, and y'all know everything big in Texas. It's funny to me. I'm sitting here in my driveway and I'm looking down the street. I see 1, 2, 3, 4 houses where cars are sitting there running just like me because we want to stay warm. The infrastructure investment potential from the state government is limited due to huge tax breaks offered to corporations as incentives to move here. Coming out of this mess, people should ask themselves, why keep voting for politicians who tell you government can't help you? That's like hiring a CEO who tells people don't buy this company's product. Overall, I hope people don't forget. I hope those who are riding out this storm with no worries realize that there are millions who are worried. I hope we all realize that building stronger communities is not done individually. We should work together to be better. Now, that's just a little thing that I got from somebody that I think was very necessary to read. I think it's very important during all of this that we understand this state, and I don't want and don't get it twisted, y'all. I like Texas. Texas has a lot to offer. There are a lot of good things here. And I definitely love the weather. I have told people who I have encouraged to, when they start talking about, oh, I'm looking for somewhere to move. And I've told people, yeah, you should move to Texas. Texas is great. The weather here is fantastic. And I'm going to, even with this situation, I'm going to still say that the weather is fantastic because we're only going to have a week of this. This is it. I tell anybody, when you think about Texas, remember one thing. Between the mid-January to the end of February is the potential for some bad situations with weather. And I only say that because I know that we're not equipped. We don't have, see, and here's where a lot of people, this is the thing a lot of people miss that don't live here. I'm going to break it down for you. I'm from Chicago. I grew up in snow. I grew up in this inclement weather type environment. When it snows in Chicago, it's business as usual. It could be 6 inches of snow. You're going to get up in the morning and go to your job. Otherwise, you'll probably be looking for one. Number one. Number two, we don't let, there's a system set up where the trucks, the plows, they come out. They get out here and they get it. They clean the streets. Texas doesn't have a snow plow. Don't have plow trucks. They don't have salt trucks. Dallas maybe a little bit. They got a few, only because they're closer in the northern part of the country where the weather does get a little chillier in that area. Okay, and they do get some ice. But down here in South Texas, where I am, we almost never see this kind of weather. I personally have, as long as I've been here 8 years, I've never seen it like this. The last time I heard that it was like this was 30 years ago. Now, here we are, and there are people who talked about 2011. 2011, it was a freeze. It wasn't even a big snow. And it didn't last as long as this. And you didn't have the infrastructure problems with the electricity or the water. Now, because we're not equipped, and what sense would it make to go buy a fleet of trucks only to have them used once every 10 years? It makes no sense. So they're not going to buy that. They're not going to do that. But what they should have done was been better equipped to make sure that people were able to be comfortable in their homes. There was a letter that, I'm going to see if I can find it. There was a letter that went out from a mayor of a place called Columbia, Texas, that is absolutely asinine. And needless to say, he has since resigned. Oh, goodness. I hope I can find it. And he should have resigned because what he said was something to the effect that people who were sitting at home cold and with nothing to eat should have taken better precautions to take care of their families. Doggone it. I can't find it. Ugh. And which is a ridiculous notion because last time I checked, I'm paying for this. We pay for the infrastructure. Our tax dollars go toward the cities, counties, and states making sure that public safety is a priority. We pay the electric company to make sure our lights stay on. We pay the water company to make sure that our water stays on. Daggone it, I wish I could find that letter. But again, I'm working under very limited and restricted resources and circumstances right now. So y'all have to bear with me. I'll have it ready. I'll probably bring it up on Friday and read it. But the point is that it is up to our public officials, the people that we put in place, to be sure that we have what we need in order to survive circumstances like this. Now, on the one hand, I don't get it twisted. This is why, I know people who literally don't watch the news and they don't keep up with anything that goes on. And I think it's pretty tragic that they sit there and they don't know what's going on. Yesterday and today, the grocery stores here were literally lines around the block. I went to the grocery store 2 or 3 days before I knew this was coming. Why? Because I knew this was coming. Why? Because I watch the news. Why? Because I keep up with what's going on in the world. There are people who don't watch news. Oh, it's so bad. I don't want to watch news. It's terrible. Oh, my God. So they don't watch the news, which is ridiculous. But this is why they're standing in line in the cold at a grocery store hoping they can get something. Well, come to find out, in fact, right here in my neighborhood, in this subdivision in particular, I left here today to go try and get some firewood from a guy he ran out before I got there. Anyway, nothing on the major street by my house has lights, period. Nothing. When I tell Walmart is shut down. Nothing. All of the major stores, all of the major retailers, all of the everything. No stoplights, nothing. It's been like that all day. A couple of places have been open. A few miles down. But the one Walmart here around near here that was open had nothing on the shelves. Now I'm going to take this little moment right here to give the grocery chain here called HEB all they props, because HEB is always on their point, always on point, always on their square. They're the only grocery store that had anything. And they always make sure their trucks roll. How do I know? Because my trucks used to roll for them too. So I know how they get down. Whenever there's been a disaster, HEB gets to the scene. When Hurricane Harvey went through Houston, who was there? HEB. They had a fleet of trucks. When I say a fleet, I'm talking about they had a fleet of trucks rolling on Houston. Mobile pharmacies, mobile kitchens, mobile groceries. They had everything, period. HEB is a great company. I'm just going to get them their shout outs and their accolades right now, because they about that life. They serious about what they do. All these other companies, they dealing with what they got, that they playing out here. So now, all of these places, and right now, literally, we're all in the dark. And like I said, I'm looking around. I see 1, 2, 3, 4. I saw 4, as many as 4 different of my neighbors sitting in their driveways in their cars, because of course we have to charge our phones. I'm fortunate enough to have the resources that I need to make what happened happen. Now, I haven't even gone as far as firing up my generator yet. If this goes past tomorrow, I will. But right now, I'm able to make do, because fortunately I have enough here to get us by today. Now, let me also say, I don't know how many of y'all remember, But you know I've done plenty of shows where I talk about survival shit. This is one of those times. I was able to operate from the things that I had set aside for survival situations. This is one. I went into my little container. Now, you got to remember something though. Texas we don't deal with a lot of gas here. So everything here is electric for the most part. That means no gas stove. So you can, some people did go to the grocery store and they bought a lot of frozen goods. But guess what? Their refrigerators are not working now and their stoves don't work. So now you got all this food in your refrigerator that's about to spoil and you have no way to cook it. But because I already knew this, I didn't buy a lot of stuff for the fridge and the freezer. But I did have some chicken that thawed out because of the refrigerator not working. And guess what I did today? I barbecued. I hit the grill. I had some a few little White Castle sliders. You know, you can buy the frozen ones now. I put them on the grill, cooked them. Hey, look, you got to be smart in times like this. Boiled some water, made some hot tea. You know, you got to use what you got to get what you want. You can't keep buying propane. Propane costs a lot of money if you can even get it, because you got to also remember when these type of situations come to pass, people make runs on stores. Before you know it, all the things you thought you were going to be able to pick up at the last minute are gone. That's why you have to be prepared for these type of things. That's why these type of things are necessary. You got to be ready. And see, we take a lot for granted. We think that these things are not going to happen, or we ain't worried about it. We'll be all right. We'll be all right. Yeah, okay, keep thinking that. Let this be yet another example of why it's necessary to have what we refer to in the survival circles as a bug out bag. That's a bag with certain items in it that will help you to survive under very harsh circumstances like what we're dealing with right now. Let's say that tomorrow we woke up and they say, oh, we can't turn the lights back on no more, ever. How many people are going to survive? You have to understand, under these type of circumstances, if it came down to having to eat, because think about it, after a few days, how much food is going to really be available to you? You know, we take for granted being able to walk in the store and get something to eat. Prime example, yesterday, we had stuff here to eat because we got canned tuna. We got all sorts of things like that we could eat, crackers, okay? But we decided yesterday, let's go out and find something to eat. So we got up, we got in the car, and we rode. Subway ran out of bread before we got to the front. They had wraps and they had pizzas left. We did find a restaurant. It was an Italian restaurant. No, it was a French restaurant. I really didn't want it, but I thought I'm bold enough. Let's try something else. So we decided we would go to Cane's Chicken. Cane's Chicken had a line of cars, literally 60 or 70 cars long. Told you about Subway. I did find a Chinese restaurant and a Vietnamese restaurant that I was able to get some pretty damn good orange chicken from, by the way. But every grocery store, if you could get inside, every one of them literally was full to capacity. The lines were all the way to the back. So when you start really analyzing what you can do and what you can't do under the circumstances, you have to really be careful about how you do it. People here didn't think they were going to be this was going to happen. It don't even snow here. People did not believe that this would happen to them. So of course they didn't prepare. Not really. No big deal. But let's keep in mind, we got over, so far that I'm aware of, 20 people dead. Did anybody think they would die behind snow and a little bit of cold weather? No, of course they didn't. But this is how things happen. It's the unaware. It's the unsuspecting. It's the things that you don't see that are the things that end up catching up to you. These are the things that you end up having problems with. Now, preparation is critically important. And it don't take a lot. You don't need much. You just need stuff, cans of tuna, cans of salmon, sardines even. I haven't had sardines since I was a kid. Oh my God. But point is, when it comes time to have to eat and survive, you know what you got to do. I already had bags of charcoal. I already had my lighter fluid. But like I said, I got generators. I got all kinds of stuff. I'm able, while the rest of my neighbors don't even have internet service or electricity, I'm able to come to you live over this feed because I have what I need to make what I have to get what I got to do done. At first I wasn't even going to do a show tonight, but I figured this would be the opportune time just to set an example. So here I am. Now, I could have set up a little better and maybe done something a little different, background wise and that type of thing, but it is what it is, y'all. We here. So let me say it like this. Texas has a lot to learn. Everybody needs somebody. Now, if Texas had not been as arrogant as these conservatives here who run this state are, and realized that we could operate with the help of other states, the way other states operate, we could pull energy from the West Coast, we could pull energy from the East Coast. But we can't pull anything because we're deregulated and we're off that grid. Because Texas was we want to do our own thing. We want to be our own this and that and the other. But now we see Texas can't handle it. See? Now you're sitting here looking like a fool while the residents and the people of this state, who the state is mandated by law to take care of, to the most basic of needs, can't do it alone. The roads are icy. Even if you wanted to go out night before last and get something to eat, you would be taking your life into your own hands. I'm a truck driver. I've driven every damn road in the United States twice, at least, under the most harsh conditions you can drive under. Windstorms, sandstorms, tsunamis, tornadoes, snowstorms, ice storms. I've driven in it all. And baby, let me tell you, when you go out here and the state don't have the infrastructure to make sure that you can safely pass on the roads, it ain't but one thing to do, and that's park. Pull over and park and wait until times get better. Because even if you wanted to get out and you weren't prepared and you wanted to get out and go get you something to eat the other night, you literally be taking your life in your own hands. And let me tell you, I wasn't going out there in it. A friend of mine sent me a video today of him in Mississippi driving down 78, going back to Georgia on literally a sheet of ice. He's better than me, let me just put it that way. I wouldn't be doing it. I don't know what the hell freight he's carrying is that damn important, but it wouldn't be me. Anyway, we are under very precarious circumstances right now. The problem at this point is not so much that it's cold or we've had snow and that type of thing, but we're at a point right now, we are out of electricity. Many people are out of water. Pipes have burst all over this place. I know one person who literally, matter of fact, who literally has 2 pipes busted right now at their house. So they have no water. Even if the water came back on. That's probably not going to be a good thing when it does. They have to shut it off at the street to keep from the house flood. Or the outside of the house flood. This is what we're dealing with. They're not prepared here. Even the homes, the way the houses are built in Texas, keep in mind that they're not insulated the same way that they are in the north. Why? Because it's a hot climate. We don't need all that insulation. Don't get me wrong, it's good to have because in the summertime it keeps the cool air in. In the wintertime it keeps the cool air out. But the point is that these houses are drafty. I literally had to put towels and stuff at the doors and that type of thing just because of the way the houses are built here. And I live in an all brick house. But that's just the way things are. Did you know that in different parts of the country, my engineer buddy who in Atlanta taught me this because he's an engineer. He deals with infrastructure and he builds roads. And he explained to me that in different parts of the country, the roads that you drive on are literally made from different materials. So if you live up in Chicago, the roads there have a different compound, a different makeup than the roads that they build down here, because we don't have the salt and the ice and the snow and the contraction and expansion of the concrete the way they do there. So just as an example, all these little things matter. But this is what we pay our tax dollars for. Literally. Riri say, I am out of everything. Over the relatives. Day 4. But God will see us through. Keep the faith, fam. Never had a problem up north. See? There you go. Now Riri is from Detroit. Prime example. Here we are in the South where these type of things are not supposed to be this big of an issue. But suddenly it's become basically a catastrophe, a disaster area. And here we are having to make it through. And I'm going to tell you something else too. You also learn, you figure out real quick that there are people in this world that do not have the survival skills to navigate these types of situations. There are people in San Antonio who literally do not own coats. I have seen people, in fact, in recent years, there'd be times when it was a little chilly outside. And when I say a little chilly around here, 20 or 30 degrees is chilly in Texas, in this part of Texas. We call that cold here. Now, I literally have seen children on the bus stop wrapped in blankets. They don't own a coat. That's how it is here. So when a situation like this comes to pass, it literally is devastating for many people. So for me, like I always say, it ain't nothing but a step for a stepper. This is nothing for me. But everybody don't have the experience or the knowledge about survival that I do. So it becomes a challenge. And some people are suffering really badly right now. There are a lot of people in a lot of pain. There are a lot of people who are cold. There are a lot of people who are hungry. As though some of them was already hungry to begin with. Now they're really hungry. People can't use water. There are hotels here that are shut down. Well, not shut down. They have guests, but they literally are having to take water from the pool up to the rooms to use in the bathroom. In fact, we had to stockpile a little bit of water ourselves the last day or two. Fortunately, our water is back functioning, but our lights are out. We had to swap out. First we had lights, then we had no water. Then we had water, then we ain't got no lights. How crazy is that? And they're actually doing deliberate rolling blackouts to try and maintain what little power that they do have left. I've been without power today. Let's see, the power came on for 3 minutes today and went back off, if that's any indication. So this is just a situation that will pass. And I've had a lot of people poke a lot of jokes at me because a couple of weeks ago I was talking crazy. I was riding around out here with the sunroof open, talking about how beautiful it was here while it was snowing everywhere else. Okay, we got slapped over here real good. But I'm going to say this. Come Sunday, it'll be 70 degrees again. So I ain't worried. This is kind of like, to me, a person saying, man, that sure is an ugly suit you got on. Yeah, well, I could change clothes. What you gonna do about your face? See what I'm saying? So, at the end of the day, we're gonna get through this. For me, and I hesitate, and I stop short of saying that this is no big deal. I will say it's no big deal for me, but I feel strongly for others who it is a big deal for, and there are many. So with that, I just want to say that, and let me also say, man, look, I have gotten a ton of calls. I appreciate each and every person that reached out just to check on me and mine and make sure that we had what we needed. I appreciate y'all. Thank you so much. I had, people offering money and anything else, what can I do? To be honest with you, as much as, I appreciate all of it, there's really nothing to be done, to be honest. Because, again, we're in a situation where money could not fix this. Nothing can fix this except time. Like many things. No amount of money is going to get the lights turned back on. No amount of money is going to save the people whose houses have burnt down because they were trying to keep their house warm. No amount of money is going to take the temperature away. These are the things. This is why you must be prepared for these things. And it goes back to the whole survival ideology. When society collapses, when the infrastructure collapses, your money ain't no good. What can you do? What can you provide in terms of skill and knowledge for survival? Money ain't going to survive you. It's just not going to help. Now, again, that ain't no slight against my people who, made offers and that type of thing. But no amount of money is going to fix this, and no amount of money is going to save anybody. There are people who've gone to hotels and that type of thing. Hotels ain't got no power. Now what? Hotels ain't got no water. Now what? Your money is no good. Can't eat that money. I can't take that money and cook it on the grill. So none of that matters. And this is why I'm going to do another show soon. As a matter of fact, it was suggested to me recently by my wife that I put out a book, The Black Factor Survival Guide. And I think I'm going to do that pretty soon here. Because there are simple things that people just don't really understand or really know. And it's not a matter of, like a clowning, or you don't know this. No, it's a matter of there are just some things that some people just don't know, and it would be helpful if they knew, or to be able to, because see, let me show you something else too. And this is another very important point. This is one of the things when I talk about survival, this is one of the things that I'm very mindful about. We got all these computers and all these smartphones and all of this electronic stuff. But guess what, y'all? The lights is out. The electricity is off. What you gonna do with electronic anything with no power? That's why you gotta have books. That's why you gotta be able to pick up a book, something that you can literally pick up, unfold, and read and say, this is what the information that I need. This is how I plant that food. This is how I clean that water because I don't have any more clean water. This is how I dress a wound to stop a person from becoming infected. See, you ain't gonna be able to Google it because your phone battery gonna be dead. Y'all think about that. These are the things that you have to remember in circumstances like these. And this ain't even an extreme circumstance. At least not yet, and I hope it don't go there. But fact of the matter is, we don't never know, nowhere in this world, particularly in this country, when it's going to go bad. And when it does go bad, are you going to be able to survive long enough to live? Major catastrophe happens in this country. Within the first 4 days, at least minimum a third of the population will be dead. Fear, anger, greed, survival. Those things are going to kick in. And there are going to be people who will be willing to do whatever they have to do to eat and feed their own family. Can you survive that? Are you prepared to survive that? These are the things that you got to think about. And I know, just like how a lot of people are saying, well, I ain't really got to think about that. I don't think that's going to happen. Or you want to pretend like it ain't going to happen. But that same attitude is the reason why we're sitting in the dark right now, because people didn't think this would happen. The people who had the power and the knowledge and the money to fix this before it happened didn't. You have the power, the knowledge, information, and money to fix your potential for survival before it happens. Don't wait until it's too late and then need to survive. That's all I'm saying, y'all. I said this was going to be an abbreviated show, and hell, I'm 40 minutes in already. So, anyway, look at here, y'all. I'm going to cut it short because I'm going to go in here and eat some of this chicken I barbecued and maybe make me a salad with this lettuce I pulled out of the garden. And we going to eat dinner. I want everybody that's out there to stay safe. And I also want you all that are east of me, east and north of me, be careful, be safe, because a lot of this weather is coming that way. A lot of people are, this ain't over. There were tornadoes in some states. There have been snow and ice in other states. There's been a lot of weather-related casualty in the last couple of days. So I want everybody to stay safe, stay warm, take care of your people, tell somebody you love them, give them a hug, something. But just remember that this is happening. We're going to get through it. But this ain't it. More stuff like this is coming. And the question you have to ask is, are you prepared? So get yourself together. Get your stuff together. Get your family together. Sit down and have these conversations and make sure that you are ready when the time does come. And it's coming. Just like death and taxes, y'all. I'm going to give y'all another shot. Let me see. Can you see? Let me see. Yeah, see that right there? Those are two different neighbors' houses. And they both are in their cars. And that's just right there. We got others. So I'm saying all of that to say, try as hard as you can not to let it get to where you have to. If this thing ain't straight by tomorrow, which it should be, but if it ain't straight by tomorrow, I'm gonna fire up my generator. I haven't fired it up yet because I haven't had a need to yet, but I'm going to tomorrow if this thing don't turn around, because I want to watch some TV or something. Now see, and I have other resources, and that's the thing. Like, I can deck out. I got a whole van I can deck out right now with everything I need inside of it. I got an 18-wheeler with a microwave and a refrigerator and TV and everything else in it. I'm not about to burn that fuel though, because I know this is going to end in a day or two. Well, let me put it this way. God willing and the creek don't rise, it's going to be over in a day or two. So with all of that said, y'all, I'm going to cut this thing short. I appreciate y'all tuning in. I'm glad we had an opportunity to have this conversation. And this is also notification that we, the Forbes, are just fine. We're gonna camp it out and make it through. And on the other side of this thing, we will not forget that elections will be coming up. And when they do, we have to vote our conscience. And we have to vote to make sure that this type of thing never happens again. We have to require that the heads roll of those who made this possible. Because this can't happen again. This has to not happen again. Now, it may be a very long time before the opportunity presents itself, but we don't even want to wait for that. We want to make sure we keep people in place that know what it is and make sure that we're safe and that we don't have to go into some third world free-for-all, escape from New York type shit to stay alive. Because I guarantee you, everybody on this block is asleep. Well, not sleep, but laying and chilling with arms at the ready. Now, me personally, I'm going to go and I'm going to take my little flashlight that I got and I'm going to finish my book that I started reading the other day. It's falling apart, but it was given to me as a gift, and I'm so very thankful that I got this book. But this is a very important book, y'all. Y'all see that? Psychopathic Racial Personality. This is a very important book, and I want to finish it. And this is a perfect time for me to be reading and sleeping. I'm catching up on my rest, y'all. So, everybody, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for hanging out. I appreciate you. And we gonna basically get up out of here, call it a night, and hopefully I will see y'all on Friday with a much more interesting show. under much better circumstances. I'll be back in the house, not in the car, in the lab, in Studio A, and we going to get it in. So everybody have yourself a great night. Love, peace, and chicken grease, y'all.